We will start with Romana and Max from Vision. Romana has studied architecture and is a researcher with a focus on innovative computational methods and open source frameworks. And since 2022, she's lead computational geometry at Vision, a software startup founded by Max, sitting next to her. Max is as well a studied architect with a passion for implementing innovations. He develops prototypes for academic research and, which is somehow important, also constructed buildings in the real world himself as an architect. And he is on a mission to bridge between technology and construction. Romana and Max will show us an insight into vision and a collaborative environment for the future. Next to that, we have a short impulse by Ryan. He will take us down to earth or to soil and excavation with his startup Gravis Robotics, which is building some of the world's most advanced robotic excavators. He has over a decade of experience in applying robotic technologies to manufacturing and construction, and he studied as well architecture but also mathematics, and this is a combination which is quite important in the history of architecture for very important people who have done the same. We can make a quiz afterwards to name a few on that. And one sentence talking to Ryan was regarding innovation in interdisciplinary fields. Don't spend time with architects, you don't see your value then. Coming to another architect then after this impulse will be Bruno. We are very happy to have him here. He's one of our alumni from the TUM Department of Architecture. He graduated as well in Stuttgart and has a dedication for additive manufacturing technologies and generative simulation methods, and also for new material systems. After working at Fit AG, one of the world's leading additive manufacturing companies, he founded his own company, which is called Additive Tectonics Subline, not an architecture startup. So we will challenge that, what makes an architecture startup then. And his mission is to introduce creatives and architects and designers the vast technological and ecological possibilities of today and how we will see in his impulse. And the final insight we will have for 5 minutes will be more an outlook from a different field and from another industry, and let's just say from another product, not a building itself. We will discuss on the case of BMW how an automotive brand is taking additive technologies and generative design methods into their product and design or manufacturing development, and also to see how this may be applied in the future. For this, we have Franziska here. She is a trained or studied media informatics person and joined BMW, the IT department, in 2015, and will give us a focus on the generative design at BMW. The final one is me on stage. My name is Christos. I'm one of the two managing directors of the Venture Lab Built Environment, and we set out to foster entrepreneurial thinking in the field of architecture and civil engineering, not to just make an architect's or a civil engineer's office, but also to make a scalable entrepreneurship or a scalable company, and then also to get this vast innovative potential among architects, designers, and civil engineers out there, and also to foster a new kind of scaled entrepreneurship. I'm giving the stage now to Romana and Max from Vision.
Which is it? Thank you.
I would say this one.
All right. Thank you very much for having us. Probably if you move over one spot. We're very happy to be here, and you forgot to mention one thing, and I want to highlight it. It's that next to Vision, I also founded open source.construction. Out of the need that we realized as a startup in the construction industry, and that's what we want to talk about first. We want to keep it short but provocative at the same time, so let's start. A couple years ago, when I visited ETH, where I go to regularly, I just ran into some students that were having super happy faces, returning from Autodesk University, and saying, hey, it's awesome what Autodesk does, and Autodesk forges the future, and everyone was overwhelmed of what Autodesk actually does technology-wise. Also, a couple years ago, the first kind of PropTech maps started to surface. And I want to have a bit of a critical view on that. Like, many of those startups are corporate startups, are like of players that are already established in the industry, to just have some money on the left and want to dive into tech. They just started companies. Many of these companies are transaction platforms. Like, I'm looking for an apartment. Here's an apartment. We connect you, and it's a bit superficial. And many of these startups that you'd find on that map from like 2020 are dead by now. So what I want to say is the way we foster innovation in the industry through startups and the whole ecosystems that are there is I'm questioning the way it's set up in a way that it's what's the influence really on the challenges that we face as an entire industry? We just heard about the talks before. But also, what's the impact on the large number of KMUs or SMEs in our industry? 90% of the architects' offices have less than 10 employees. 60% of all the construction companies have less than 50 employees. So they have almost no margin or money for investing in processes and digital tools. So we need to find ways to kind of get them engaged in the game. And that's the relationship or the comparison to what happened in tech. Like, if you look into the beginning of, I would say, where we are right now in the whole digitalization in the construction industry, and that's where we've been in software. Everyone tried to build everything themselves to have a competitive edge across the competitors, but that just changed dramatically. Today, GitHub has 75 million users, and there's so much open source code. No single piece of software is written without open source components. And it's a key driver for innovation in tech, and just enables us to do what we do with our apps and smartphones and everything. So I'm claiming that rather being invited by Autodesk to visit the Autodesk University, students and other people in the industry should be invited to the open source party and really try to get themselves an understanding of what it means to actually collaborate with competitors, with other people in the industry, and open systems that can evolve much more dynamically and much more robust than just these closed systems that we were exposed to up until now. And I want to go not too much into detail, just to keep the time, but there's some claims that I want to make on top of it, because I think it's a really critical time where we are in the industry right now. There's one important shift, moving away from files to data, moving away from software applications to cloud-based applications, which actually opens quite a new ways of interacting with each other. So what I want to put on the stage is we really need to promote open standard, open interfaces, and open ecosystems that can grow much more dynamically, and where startups can actually plug in much easier than in just a Revit plugin, for example, or like these closed silo worlds. Also, public sector, public code, public money, public code. I think it's very present for you guys at universities. But as soon as communities, governments start to invest in infrastructure, it should be made in a way that it's open also to startups and other companies. And of course, that's the huge topic, digital sustainability. You as a company, if you start to invest in building up whatever digital infrastructure, look into how you can also lift up the suppliers or all the partners that you work with, because there's no digital process that you can establish without all the other people involved in it. And last but not least, my call out to the universities. I would really happy also to have a discussion about how far you are with that, but I would really like to see that everyone who's doing a PhD related somehow to code has to have a successful PR pull request to an open source repository, just to get to use of what it means to collaborate in a digital way with others, and also to have an impact of how we move on. And what we want to show today, just to bridge the link to where we are from Vision, very quick overview of what we do. It's a browser-based optimization platform where we bring together geometry and material information to run all kinds of analyses. And we also obviously work with open source components. One push that we established is the Open Material Database, where we try to bring together open material data for all kinds of similar analyses. And the second one is a geometric model that Romana will introduce to us right now.
Yeah, to understand the context, I will go a little bit more deeper here. So users that are on our platform, what they do in the first step is they upload their BIM model to our platform. And when we talk about a BIM model, it actually means an IFC model, as it has become the standard the open standard for describing BIM models. So we start from this IFC model that users export from CAD tools such as ArchiCAD or Revit. But the problem is that those CAD embedded exporters are not so clever. So the IFCs are usually unstructured, unconnected, different elements belong to the wrong type, and there is no semantic information between the elements, so the relation between them is only given by geometric proximity. And so what we do in the first step is to create a topological data structure that on top of this relevant information contained in the IFC also incorporates an understanding of neighboring elements and its enclosures. So you actually know what's inside and outside the building. And this is what we call the reference model, which is the basis to extract all the relevant information for tools that we offer on the Vision platform. So simulation models, quantity analysis, energy performance, LCA, and so on. And without open source software, it would have taken us several more years to establish that. So we use IFC OpenShell for sourcing the IFC. We use Compass for geometry processing. We use Ladybug and Honeybee tools to export to Energy Plus. And this reference model is very crucial for us, and it has developed our own needs, but it's also very generic for describing topological properties of a building. So at Vision, over time, we will use this model. We will have consistent topological models that we will use to improve our optimization and mine it for insights. But this is also the point where we want to give something back to the open source community, because as it is so general, right, it's the point to get others, invite and work on it. So that's why we already open sourced the data structure of the topological data structure. And well, this is what we believe is very important for digital sustainability. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So.